All right, good morning, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 48 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Starting the week off, Shane Montalban, my co-host, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia, having a good time up there. Happy Monday to you, Shane.
Yeah, well, did you see that Raptors endgame ball? You watch basketball.
I did, but I that's past my bedtime. But
All right.
I did see the
Okay.
replay of the final shot. Thing bounced around 4 or 5 times and finally dropped in, and
I
everybody
know.
went nuts. So,
They did. They did. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
well, I don't know, man. There's luck in some things, I guess, huh?
Yeah, there
Could've-
sure is.
uh,
Well, and the guy was it Kai Leonard. He scored 41 and 92 points. That's
yeah, I
amazing.
know. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good player. So we'll see.
Long shooter. Long shooter.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they take on Golden State next, or does Portland take on Golden State? I think Portland takes on Golden State.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I think
Take
that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we're having a high old time here, aren't we?
Indeed.
Monday morning. In the military, we call this 0600 because, oh my God, it's early.
It is early, is it not?
It's earlier for you because it's 0500 there.
Yes, the birds are chirping, but it's not light outside yet.
Not light yet. Well, it's not light here yet either, so don't feel too bad. So,
I don't. But
All right.
it's comfortable 48 degrees here as well, so it's not bad.
all right. Well, we're looking for a high of 76 today. 45 will be the overnight low. Partly cloudy, very little chance of precip, maybe some later in the afternoon, early evening. Let's see, on Tuesday, 75 degrees again and 48, the overnight low, mostly cloudy, very little chance of precip. Then the afternoon thunderstorms move in on Wednesday, probably around 5 o'clock or so. 2 to 5, you start getting a 45% chance of rain or some thunder showers in there. High of 71 on Wednesday, 49 on Tuesday, or on the overnight low, rather. And then it drops down a little bit. Thursday, we go to 67, still have scattered thunderstorms. And Friday, same story, 61 and 41, the overnight low. Thunderstorms yet again. And rain, and rain as far as we can see into the forecast. And then the temperatures outside of our first 3 days here will, starting with the weekend, Saturday, they will drop into the 50s and kind of stay there most of next week. So
There you go.
it's not perfect yet.
No, but typical, beginning of a week in
Typical-
May, typical May weather, right?
It is typical May weather for us, that's for sure. So, well, temperatures around the area right now. Livingston is 46 degrees. They're partly cloudy. Manhattan is 45 and clear. Three Forks is 47 and clear. Gallatin Gateway, 47 and partly cloudy there. Ennis is 42 and partly cloudy. Gardner is 38 and clear. Big Sky's 39 and clear. And at the airport in Belgrade right now, it's a balmy, nice 46 degrees over there and partly cloudy. We're right at 48 degrees at our downtown studios here, so we're pretty excited about that. So, what can I tell you, man? We're off and running. So,
Exactly.
happy Monday.
There we go.
All right, let's see. On this day in history, gosh, all kinds of things happened. The British are at it again, of course. 1607, a English colony was settled at Jamestown in present-day Virginia. So, yeah, they
Yeah,
started a
and
colony
it
there.
has a particular important story because, of course, James Fort was established on May 14th. That's why it made the day in history. But it followed several failed attempts, including the lost colony of Roanoke in 1585.
Yeah.
And Jamestown actually served as the capital of Virginia for 83 years, from 1616 to 1699. But I guess the most important thing was that even though mortality was very high at Jamestown, like 80% of the colonists perished between 1609 and 1610, it was known as the starving time. So the Virginia Company brought 8 Polish and German colonists in 1608 in the second supply. And in that second supply they also brought the first 2 European women to the settlement. But what it's really known for is in 1619, the first documented Africans came to Jamestown. About 50 men, women, and children aboard a Portuguese slave ship that had been captured in the West Indies and brought to Jamestown region. And they were interned and indentured servants, and the modern concept of slavery in the United States was formalized in 1640. So there you go. That's probably the most important thing to mention about that.
Yeah. Whatever happened to the Roanoke colony? We still don't know, do we?
I still don't know to this day.
Were they
no.
wiped out by Indians? Did they just move away? Was
No,
there a hurricane and everybody was washed off the map, or what?
There's just no real written record of it, and that's why it's known historically as the lost colony of Roanoke. And it was the first attempt at founding a permanent English settlement in North America, and it was established in 1585. And as I said, on Roanoke Island.
Yeah.
And it's in what's today Dare County of North Carolina. The colony was sponsored by none other than Sir Walter Raleigh. Now, remember, this is 1585, so it's almost 100 years after the discovery of North America by the good old Christopher. But the thing is that this is the 1500s, where the Spanish conquered the Caribbean and Central America and Peru, and took home that vast amount of gold and silver and became a very wealthy colony. And of course, the rise of Elizabeth I and of course the great Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yeah. Well, in 1846, the United States declared that a state of war existed against Mexico.
Yeah, we've covered this quite significant.
Yeah, it's been going on a little while here.
1846, 1848. And just to re-mention, the Americans had the military on the border with Mexico for 100 years, from 1845 to 1945. And basically what the result of this is the annexation by President Polk of Texas in 1845, because Texas had declared its independence as a country. Now, that's interesting, because today it was not a territory, it was a country, and they annexed it. So under its constitution, it's the only state that could secede from the Union, because it was not an acquired territory and made into a state. So there you go.
All right. Yeah. 1914, boxing champion Joe Louis was born in Lafayette, Alabama, and quite a story there of Joltin' Joe.
The Brown Bomber.
Yeah.
He reigned. His reign lasted 140 consecutive months. He participated in 26 championship fights, and amazing title. 25 consecutive title defenses, and one of the longest in modern history. Yeah, so he was an amazing young man, and boy, what a punch!
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, in 1917, 3 peasant children near Fatima, Portugal, reported seeing a vision of the Virgin Mary. Wow.
Yeah, this was a really remarkable event globally. I mean, this was one of
it went everywhere.
Yeah, it went around the world because of what happened. It was in Portugal, as you mentioned. 3 children were Lucia dos Santos and her cousins Francisco and Shanita Marto. And, no one believed them. Their parents and them were, almost attacked, even had to hide out in their homes. But they did continue seeing her, and the Pope Pius XII finally granted recognition, and the Bishop Jose Alves Correz de Silvia granted belief of it on the 13th of October, 1930. Anyway, Lucia went on to write a book in the 1930s revealing 2 secrets that she claimed the Virgin Mary had shared with her. And the third secret she gave to the Pope, Pius VII, in a private letter, which some believe was a prophecy of things to come, including the Second World War and the consecration of Russia. So it's amazing. It's an amazing event, religious event, and incredible following, and amazing.
Yeah, people from all over the world started descending on that little town.
Yeah,
hoping, bringing the sick and the poor and the injured and everybody else with them. Hopefully, they
built a cathedral there, Our Lady of the Holy Rosary of Fatima.
Yeah. Well, in 1940, Winston Churchill told the British House of Commons in his first speech as Prime Minister, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat."
That's right. May 13th, 1940, he made this speech in the House of Commons after the king had offered him commission the previous Friday to become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in the first year of World War II. He had replaced Neville Chamberlain 2 days before that on the 10th of May. So this was his first speech in regards to the Battle of France, which was raging in Europe at the time. It was an amazing time, the result of what happened,
Well, the other thing that's amazing about it is Winston was pretty much an abject failure at everything he did, everything he tried.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm surprised he was even in line to even be considered for prime minister of all things. I mean,
that's right.
The guy,
he was head of the Admiralty in England in World War I, and then lost that because of a failed attempt to invade Turkey. And
it seemed like everything he tried, he failed at.
Yes, that's true.
But he was the right man at the right time for that.
Boy, was he? Yeah, right. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, in 1958, Vice President Nixon's limousine was battered by rocks thrown by anti-U.S. demonstrators in Caracas, Venezuela. Of course, we're familiar with that area right now.
Yeah, that's one of those countries, that Che Guevara from Cuba got into and started a, socialist movement, and the Americans sort of put it down. And a lot of the people at the time didn't approve of it. And the interesting thing about these northern countries of South America is that the impact that the African-American slave had on it and the Portuguese, as colonies. And so it was a real transitional period, for all the people in the northern parts of South America.
On this date in 1981, Pope John Paul II was shot and seriously wounded in St. Peter's Square by Turkish militant Mehmet Ali Hagra.
That's right. And
whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, that's right. And as a true Christian, he recovered and then went to prison to forgive him.
Yeah.
For what he had done, which created a second round of amazement for the world with that Pope. But we all know his history. I mean, he had as much impact in the collapse of the Soviet Union as anyone, probably, because of his trip to Poland and so forth. So, big guy that changed the world. Definitely changed the world.
Yeah. Well, this next one's pretty amazing. In 1985, Philadelphia police dropped an explosive into the headquarters of the radical group MOVE. 11 people died in the resulting fire.
That's right. And this this group was founded in 1972 in Philadelphia, and by John Africa, born Vincent Lepart, and Donald Glassley. And they were pretty much anarchists and revolutionaries at the time, and living in a communal setting in West Philadelphia. And they were similar to their ideology was similar to the Black Panthers, but a lot of people believe this was the forerunner of MoveOn.org, which we all know about.
Right, yeah.
And it was, again, another interesting time in the United States, after the Vietnam War, or with the Vietnam War flaring and everything. And, of course, the Watergate issue was coming up, during this time. And, it was a big time in the United States, big changes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, you just drop explosives on a headquarters. You think about, well, is there anybody living nearby? Is there anybody could there be civilians in there? These people had, spouses, friends, or, whatever, I guess. So,
well, and of course, the FBI was famously, known for, spying, of course, and trying to get into these groups to follow them. And, the record of all of that. So it's not like the FBI doesn't have a history of spying on people.
Well, that's true. Well, we got to take care of our truck drivers, our farmers, our ranchers, our bartenders, cab drivers, you name it. All right. Got Montana news and agriculture coming up and a couple other things, but no
Noxitril?
No Noxitril. Couldn't remember the name of it. At least not in this break anyway. So we'll be right back. All right, it is 26 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And, well, we're doing the day in history. 1992, the Falun Gong movement had its beginning at the sect's founder, Li Hongzhi, began publicly lecturing on his spiritual philosophy in the northeastern Chinese city of Changchun.
Accomplishment, actually, with considering what was going on in China. Chairman Ping was in charge. They're making the transition to fascism, and it's a religious spiritual practice that combines meditation and exercise, and it's centered on the tenets of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, and basically derived from Buddhist and Taoist traditions. But by 1999, it had grown to 90 million people in China. Mm-hmm. And they demonstrated in Beijing, in the central government, in the square of Beijing, requesting legal recognition and freedom from the state. Didn't work out. Ping sort of shut them down, and he left and came to the United States, and it still has over 70 million followers worldwide. So it's pretty amazing.
Wow, quite a guy.
Yeah. Quite a guy. I wonder how much tith he gets from them every day.
Well, I'm looking at this story, and I'm thinking to myself, Shane, I'm always looking at business from a, I look at every story from a business perspective, of course, and I'm thinking we need to put up a major resort in China.
Yes.
I mean a major deal with water parks and shopping and the whole nine yards. And we'll put it in a city. We'll name our own city.
That's right.
It'll be Chiching.
Yeah, that's Chiching, exactly. And there's 50 cities to choose from that are empty. So
that's it.
Built,
so yeah. But I think Chiching, China would be the place you'd want to go, right?
Definitely would go viral, buddy. You got it marked.
I think I want that. Yeah. Well, in 2003, the government unveiled a new version of the $20 bill, the first to be colorized in an effort to thwart counterfeiters.
Yeah, and the first one, for the $20 bill was 1861, a demand note with Lady Liberty holding a sword and shield on the front and abstract on the back. And now, of course, it's got Andrew Jackson on the front. And it's on the reverse side?
The Treasury.
Correct. And I used to make a lot of money bartending because when people would leave a tip on the bar, I'd say to them, double or nothing. If you can tell me what's on the back of the note.
Yeah.
Right? It's amazing how many people don't know what's on the back or even the front of, a $50 bill, 20, 10,
right,
5. Yeah, but it's a great way to make money for those of you out there in the service business. Yeah. Use the U.S. currency as a way to get a bigger tip.
Yeah. Well, I knew that because I just eliminated all the buildings that couldn't have been. So, all right. All right, we got to pay a couple bills. We got Montana State News. We got Fox News. We've got Brooke Foster weather. We've got all kinds of stuff. We'll be right back. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 49 degrees outside. Shane and Tobin, half man, half amazing. Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor in the house. And, of course, this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Who else? All right.
Exactly.
Well, birthdays today. We already mentioned Joe Louis, who was born on this date in 1914. And let's see, Pope Pius IX was born on this date in 1792. And also born on this date, Sir Arthur Sullivan, Gilbert and Sullivan, the great duo of composers, wrote operettas and whatever. Gilbert and Sullivan, quite a duo there. And
they were like the first modern musicals.
Yeah,
yeah.
They did a great job, yeah. Also, Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid down in Jonesboro.
Literally.
Jonestown, I should say, not Jonesboro, Jonestown Massacre in 1798. And there was one person there that survived that. Shay, did you know that? That one person, they fell asleep. Before they started drinking the Kool-Aid. they woke up and then everybody there's dead except them.
That would be a nightmare to wake up to.
That's a story for if he was still alive. What the rest of the story? Who am I thinking of?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Anyway, that's terrible. I can't remember the guy's name.
I can't either.
Oh, well, somebody's going to have to text me on that one.
Yeah, someone text you. I'm not going to look it up.
Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey. The rest of the story. Paul Harvey.
Yeah, the rest of the story.
That's who it is.
Get the rest of the story.
I got Paul covered. Well, hey, there's a bunch of stuff you need to know about Bozeman, and of course, as it turned out, we know that the Save the Western Front, the 443 acres was saved by the governor, and everybody went home happy. And so there's a big front page story on that in the Bozeman Chronicle yesterday about the saving the Western Front, or Gallatin Front, I should say. And you know, I don't know. I still wonder who's going to pay for a you know, if they get, if there's a fire or whatever there, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, just the awareness of how close it is to civilization in your state, you know, the maintenance is like you say, who's going to be responsible for that maintenance?
Well, that's I don't know, but anyway, they outbid the timber company for the rights to go there, so. They got a 25-year lease, I guess, on the property, so they're going to stay there. And so that was questions that came up a long time ago when this thing first started. You know, is who's going to be responsible for whatever happens inside that 400 acres. You know, so. Well, the other thing, a little bit out of Bozeman, but Phoenix, Arizona example, they're giving moms. Bail for Mother's Day. Bailing them out of jail for Mother's Day.
and we should say we trusted all mothers yesterday had a wonderful Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, it's a special day for them. So happy belated Mother's Day to all women and mothers today.
Yeah. Well, this one lady had her bail covered by Living Church for Change in Arizona, or Lucha, a social and radical justice group. The organizers said they were inspired to do this for a second year by an initiative known as Black Mama's Bailout.
Right. And the remarkable thing is that it's estimated that Americans spent $25.5 billion yesterday on Mother's Day because it's the biggest restaurant day in your country.
Yep.
But when you hear that number, you know, first thing that has to go through your mind is, really? And they can't give your president a couple of billion to finish a fence? Like, it's like you know. Now, unfortunately, Father's Day they spend less.
Yeah.
You know, that's not till June.
Well, and also too, I think this is a collective of people who did this to bail out the moms. But anyway, they dozens of mothers of color for the third straight year. They're bailing these folks out. So that's. Yeah, I guess that's the story. So
the American way.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with that one. So,
yeah.
And let's see. City planning. Bozeman can't get their act together. Building. They're facing a work shortage, of course, before busy construction months, and I think our unemployment rate's like something like 2%. So. I think once the word gets out that we are going to see a lot more people of Hispanic descent in Walmart as the construction-heavy summer months approach.
In Walmart or standing out front in line for a job?
Well, they'll stand outside for a job at Lowe's Depot or Lowe's and Home Depot, not outside Walmart. They'll just be in Walmart buying the stuff that they buy from their construction jobs. So,
right. And the others where people go to get building supplies. I understand.
Yeah.
That's good. That makes sense.
Well, the building department was understaffed in December. It's lost 2 more inspectors, bringing the total number of vacancies in the department to 5. They need 5 more people on there. And on top of that, planning has also shorted 2 planners, a planning technician and an administrative assistant, with another planner out on maternity leave until August. So it looks like the worker shortage has meant delays for those working with both departments. The recording reached when calling planning says people can expect delayed response times of 2 to 4 weeks. So if we're getting applications in there for housing or subdivisions or whatever else, they're using up valuable time, construction time.
That's right.
To not get that done. So
meanwhile, MSU building was recognized, their newest building, with the Green Building Council Award in the state of Montana. I only mention this because you wouldn't want Cortez to visit your state and see this building because it's rock, glass, and steel.
Well,
she'd probably have a real problem with
no,
that.
we can't have that. So
yeah.
Let's take a quick call, then we got to take a break. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
Indeed.
Don't want to say my name this time because I don't want people to know in it.
Okay.
I know those two inspectors that recently left.
Yes.
And when you talk to them on a personal level, it has nothing to do with, we'll just say the bureaucracy drives employees crazy.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yep. And so we're losing inspectors and everything's slowing up, not because there's so many jobs available. No. The city drives the employees crazy with their bureaucracy, and they're saying, I can, find a better job for better pay, too. So
there you go.
Just wanted to throw that out there, people. Be aware the city is driving employees away.
Okay.
What a surprise.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. It is 10 minutes for the top of the hour, May 13th, 2019. It is Monday, and temperature's 50 degrees outside. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing. On the air with me, Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And the city of Bozeman proposed a $200 million budget that's only $82 million higher than last year's budget.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty good. They, nearly half of the increase is tied to the upcoming Bozeman Public Safety Center. Last year, city residents approved the roughly $40 million contract project through a bond initiative, and they'll be issuing bonds on that or selling bonds for that, obviously. So staff estimate the budget would mean the typical Bozeman homeowner would pay about $2,373 in city taxes and fees each year. That's a jump of $10 a month or $121 over last year. So, and plus they're going to throw, we're going to throw the Law Justice Center at you in November, and also, of course, the $200 park fee. So it's only a pizza and a six-pack now. Per month.
Meanwhile, they're still not meeting, the city and the county, and there's still debate about parking in the Bozeman downtown hotels that are going up. It's a great. Yeah. I love local politics. I mean, everything's local, right?
It's going on and on and on. I don't know what to tell you. And Bullock signed a new law that speeds up ballot processing. They're going to be able to open the ballots from the envelopes 3 business days before Election Day, 2 days sooner than previously allowed. And counting can also begin the day before Election Day rather than when the polls open. So the Gallatin County Election Committee began processing ballots for the school district election last Friday, but decided not to begin counting until Tuesday morning due to the small number of ballots received prior to Election Day. So, boy, I have mixed feelings about that. Obviously, if you start counting votes ahead of time, you're going to have tallies, and sometimes that may leak out into the community as to who's, on or before Election Day. I don't want to paint a brush here that the pollsters or the election people aren't honest, or, but. Boy, you mentioned it to a friend who's not a friend, and it spreads pretty quickly as to, hey, Tom and Shane are in the lead. We need to get some vote out there to beat those guys.
Yeah, we get some buses. Bring somebody in.
Yeah, let's go. We'll be right back right after these important words from Cashman Nursery and some other folks. All right, it is 3 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 51 degrees outside. Shane and Tobin on the line with me in Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And this is...
Aaron wants to say hello. He called in just to say hello to us. So hello, Aaron. He had a great Mother's Day weekend, and so that was good. It was good. So Aaron wants everyone to know that he went fishing in his boat yesterday. That
the boat tax refund paid for.
That's right. Yeah, and his wife went to Lewistown to be with their daughter and new granddaughter, baby. First Mother's Day for their daughter, and he was out fishing alone. He just wants everyone to know.
Well, all right. Well, good for him. So, good job, Aaron.
Indeed.
All right. Well, abortion raises its ugly head once more, but I don't think the states are going to wait for Roe v. Wade to be overturned. The states are taking this matter into their own hands. And if a new Mississippi law survives a court challenge, it will be nearly impossible for most pregnant women to get an abortion there, or potentially in neighboring Louisiana or Alabama or Georgia.
That's right. And the amazing thing about this fetal heart bill is 20 states now have passed similar legislation about recognizing it.
Yeah.
And, and we talked about this about 4 weeks ago with the God Squad, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants in this process of abortion to recognize the science about the Doppler fetal monitor that can recognize a fetus heartbeats, certainly within 12 weeks, but 6 to 7 weeks into the pregnancy. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this is determined, because it will go to the Supreme Court, and if they will legitimately recognize new science since Roe v. Wade. That'll be the whole argument, right? New science.
I think it will be, that if you have a heartbeat, it's pretty hard to say you don't have a living human being somewhere in there. So, Well, the Louisiana legislature is halfway toward passing the law, like the ones enacted in Mississippi and Georgia, that will ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected about 6 weeks into pregnancy and before many women know they're pregnant. So Alabama's on the cusp of approving an even more restrictive bill. So we'll see how all that turns out. So
we'll be following it, big guy.
All right, we got to take a break at the top of the hour. We come back, 5 things you need to know. Like it or not, we'll be right back. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it's Monday, May 13, 2019, 51 degrees outside. Shane Tomlin, half man, half amazing, on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And we just got word, Shane, that China announces tariff hikes on $60 billion of U.S. imports in retaliation for what Trump was doing of $280 billion, I think, tariffs.
Yeah, and he's threatening to put a tariff on all their products, as you've said, rightfully so. Well, why shouldn't they pay extra to come to the biggest market in the world? But look, let's just straighten this out, because I listened to this all weekend, and it's just unfair for the media to represent this as a tax on American consumers. Look, the way these tariffs work, a ship comes to shore and they start unloading. Now they have to pay the tariffs on those products. Well, who pays? Well, the government of China does. Now, the thing is, folks, is that it's up to the retailer, because everything you buy retail that you see marked in a retail store, it costs them 50%. They've marked it up 10 to 50%. So it's up to them to decide whether they want to increase the price of that product to you, because the trade chain that they've gotten the product to them has gone up in price. But the margin of profit is so great on everything coming out of China that no one in North America is going to raise prices, number one. Number two, it only hurts China if they do, because, the big choice we always talk about, do you need it or want it?
Right.
If people start buying things because they need it and not because they want it, China's in big trouble, right?
They would be, yeah, that's for sure. Well, the other thing you got to think about, Shane, is the currency, since these virtually everything in that's manufactured in China is controlled by the government.
That's right.
And
exactly.
And also you've got to realize they fluctuate their money, their currency.
They do. It's been marginal because, they joined the World Bank, and there's now major restrictions on them. But the point is, the profit margins on things are so significant because China's been doing for 30 years There's not going to be. They're not going to raise prices. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing too, with them lowering the value of their dollar or their yuan, that eats into the tariff and helps us not. Reduce the tariff and helps us, not hurts them. So whether or not that's going to be very much or not, it depends on what they do with their currency. And as you mentioned, they've joined the International Monetary Fund, so they are restricted on what they can do and what they can't do. But
that's an excellent call, because that's another marker that we talk about.
Yeah,
they want to maintain a higher value to their yuan, or they're going to pay more in tariffs. So from a monetary standpoint, it's a good call on the part of the administration to do this, because it sort of puts them in check.
Yeah. And, well, I don't know. I don't know where we are now, but it used to be that our dollar bought $6 worth of their goods, something like that.
I think it's
about 6 to 1, something like that. Yeah.
6 to 1, yeah. Now the other thing here that you will hear a lot about is this whole thing about face. This is a very important thing in Asian culture, is not to lose face. Well, the comparison is shame in the West. You don't want to be shamed.
Right.
So in effect, they don't want to be shamed. Now, the problem that you have is that your president is looking at this, and again, hearing all these politicians and stuff, he's thinking about 50 years from now and the new transition to AI and intellectual property, but more important, things like 5G, which is going to change the world with regards to the internet and cell phones. And so it's an enforcement issue now that they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about 5G. And the reason is because they agreed to things like fentanyl. So when they went home and said they were going to outlaw fentanyl in the last deal, the party went nuts, going, we can't have America dictating to us what can and can't be legal in China, right? So it's a real interesting thing, and it's a challenge to the Chinese, because as you say and I say, they're heading for some type of downturn in their economy, a recession, or even a depression. So we'll see what goes on here. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, the reason we bring this up, or one reason I brought this up, is it relates to our first of the 5 things that you need to know, is that if you saw Fox News Sunday, White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow was on there with Chris Wallace, and Wallace got him to admit that consumers do pay for the tariffs on some products, not every product, but
yeah, that's right.
You can't do it across the board. You can't flatten it out like that, because
well, and it may be the larger tag products, like expensive purses and things like that are made there. But the bottom line is that the margin of profit on these things is just so astronomical that retailers are they say the big one was toys. Well, I have 2 grandchildren, my oldest daughter. And I have to tell you that, she's bought everything online at 10% of the cost that she would have gone to a retailer to buy it.
Yeah.
And, it was 1-year-old product or, 2-year-old product that families paid full retail for. So, these things are shifting and changing the whole retail market. And the one company that, this will probably affect more than anyone else is Amazon. Because they purchase products across the board from China. So, as a direct purchaser, they may raise prices, but only out of greed once again. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where we are, though. But I hope he'll stand his ground on this.
Oh, he's got to.
Yeah.
Has to. 100%. Yeah.
I think he will, even with the election year and everything coming up, because the looking at the markets overnight. Let's see. Dow's up overnight. It was down when I got up this morning.
Yes.
It was down quite a bit. Now it's about 113 up. So's the NASDAQ, and so's the New York Stock Exchange. Apple's down a little bit, and Facebook's down, and some of the others. But and all across Europe and Asia, those markets were all down. So I don't
Yes.
know, maybe at 7:30 we can have you give us a update on all the foreign markets, see what's going on there, and we'll talk a little bit. Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that going on. So let's see. Next thing you need to know is that Sweden is going after Julian Assange again on the rape case. They want extradition to Sweden for Assange, who is. Well, I'm not sure where he is now. He was at the Ecuador embassy, and then London arrested him and dragged him out of the embassy after Ecuador rescinded its asylum protection in April. And he's currently serving 50 weeks in a British prison for jumping bail.
That's right.
So we'll see. Sweden's deputy director of prosecutions said they decided to reopen the investigation because there is still probable cause to suspect that Mr. Assange committed rape. So we'll see.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that the Americans haven't asked for extradition rights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, quite honestly, they were waiting for the Swedes to do this first. Now they'll ask for it. But because of the order, the Swedish issue will have to be settled before the American issue.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So
the American, they don't
get in line. Get in line, huh?
Well, but Democrats do not want this guy in the U.S. testifying. They don't.
No, they don't. Yeah, I was going to say, some people, well, it's like Snowden. Some people think he's a hero. Some people think he's, a traitor to the country. And Assange, same thing. How much does the public really have a right to know? Is the big question.
Well, the Supreme Court settled this over the Pentagon Papers. You remember that? I mean,
well,
huge,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, back then. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. 522-8255. Calling you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, guys, this is my second call, but the first one was off the air, so is that cool?
That doesn't count, man. Nobody heard you, so you haven't called.
Aaron, you go right ahead there, buddy. Go ahead.
Excellent. So, Switzerland is asking for Assange, is that right?
Sweden, yeah. Sweden wants him. Yeah, Sweden wants him.
Isn't Sweden inundated with Muslim rape?
Well, they were. Well, I don't know if they were or not. I'm not sure they took a whole lot of Muslims in Sweden.
They took a number of them, but they've stopped it.
They stopped quite a while.
Right, but they're still being inundated with Muslims raping the white women up there, and then this white guy from 30 years ago, they're going to bust him for doing it.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? They should have plenty of rape.
These are accusations. He's not guilty. He's not guilty. It's just accusations.
Well, that's I don't know. In Sweden, he might be guilty before he may have to prove his innocence in Sweden. I don't know. I don't know what their law is.
I wonder if Trump, because Julian Assange essentially said he didn't get those documents from Russia, and I think with the investigation that's going on, Assange might be a vital player in that whole ordeal.
He could be.
And Britain is caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a lot of documents that implicate them in that coup attempt.
Yep.
So they might be holding him as a political pawn, to control Trump a little bit.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah, it is. So I think Julian Assange needs to get here. He needs immunity from the DOJ and offered asylum if he says that he didn't get those from Russia.
Yeah. Well, no way to really know. Yeah, thanks for the call, Aaron. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I think it'll either end up being Russia or somebody at the DNC gave it to him, I think.
Yeah, one or the other. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back, but no Noxatril, so hang in there. It's another Manic Monday, Shane.
And so much to talk about.
I know. 21 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Monday, May 13, 2019. 53 degrees outside. Shane and Tom on the line with me. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And, there is a lot to talk about. That's for sure. We just had China hit us with a bunch of tariffs, roughly 20 billion or so. Not a lot, but I think it's only the beginning. They're just retaliating for us after they walked away from an agreement that they tentatively almost agreed to. So,
well, and these tariffs they put on two things. First of all, face we talked about, but number two, when the list comes out, you'll see they're all in Republican states. or Republican congressional districts. All these tariffs are meant to hit, Republicans in the U.S. and it's an interesting place. So we'll see how it goes. But China's in a bad way with this. They just don't know what to do with Trump. It's just great. I love it. It's just
well,
great. Other thing I just wanted to mention that senator running for president from New York, Hildebrand.
Yeah.
She insulted Trump this weekend about he's big egotistical guy and he doesn't know how to negotiate and he doesn't listen. And someone needs to tell her that he's got people negotiating. He's not negotiating.
He's not doing it.
But would you read the newspaper, like the New York Times?
I gotta say, what do you think Kudlow and Pompeo are doing?
Exactly.
They're not cleaning the bathrooms in the White House.
Yeah. The president makes decisions. Give me choices. I make a choice. Solve the problem. He's a problem solver. He doesn't go negotiate stuff. Give me a break.
There you are. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. 522-8255. Calling you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, everything's still up, Tom.
Okay.
All good.
At your age, that's a good thing.
Yep, the moon's hanging in there. We're doing good.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that whole Assange and Swiss deal was a setup from day one, probably by us. They dropped the charges. Now they're going to reopen the charges.
Yeah, I know.
And I agree with Shane. They don't want that guy testifying in the U.S.
No, they don't.
They do not want that. And the other thing is 5G.
Yeah.
If you talk to any of the military guys, and I'm not talking the rank and file, but the officers that are involved in the new less than lethal weapon technology, they're right there with 5G. And the plan is, this is what I think Elon Musk was looking out into the future. Isn't he the rocket man? Isn't it Musk?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Well, they're planning between, I think it's now in 2025, to put 20,000 little satellites up in space for 5G.
Yeah.
And they've already got...
Yeah, that's the plan, with his rockets,
Right, and they got, you already got countries that are balking and people that are balking on this 5G stuff because it's way, way more potent power-wise than everything. And like I said before, it goes... The number isn't just the next step.
Yeah, well,
it goes up a lot.
Well, this 5G is a great thing if it wasn't for the side effects.
Right. Yeah. The side effects are. They want to put them in. They want to put it in school. They've already got it in schools. They've already got it in D.C.
Yeah.
And maybe that's our problem. Maybe that's what's happening back there. You get a bunch of lunatics because they're getting zapped every day. They don't take their tinfoil hat to work.
Yeah.
And for the listeners, 5G NR is a new radio access technology. The anagram you're going to love, RAT, developed by the 3GPP for 5G mobile networking. But it's supposed to be the new global standard for air interface of 5G and replace all the thousands of satellites in space that are old technology from the last 40, 50 years. But the single factor about it is they're not going to, they don't want China involved in it. And China, for whatever reason, they just don't have the knowledge and technology to develop it on their own. So, they want access to it because it's going to change the whole global networking of information and streaming. That's what this is all about, folks, streaming.
Man, you're not going to be the way the plan that they're rolling out, you're not going to be able to get out from under it.
Yeah.
There's no place, they'll cover the whole damn planet. And I think people are starting to realize that it's a little more, the side effects are a little more dangerous than they thought.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you give 5G to Iran or Hezbollah or any of these groups, that's what I mean by the side effects. You've got all these terrorist groups that are going to be able to communicate much better and hide themselves much better, with this technology.
Well, there's physical side effects to it also, and that's what the people are balking at, the physical side effects of the technology. Like I said, they're right at, as far as the military is concerned, is something that to act literally a weapon. They have the weapons. They've had them for a long time. You know, and that's the problem. That's what people are balking at. And you got to remember that the human body is a chemical, a biological, and electrical system. And to think that this stuff is not going to have effects on any living thing on this planet, I think is a little, you're stretching it, because I think it is. And Trump wants it. He says, he says, go to 6G. Well, wait a minute. You better learn and take a look at this stuff and see what's going on.
Are you suggesting 12 years from now the planet will be saved because the human race will be gone?
I think that's been the goal for a long time.
Cell phones will be running everything?
Yeah. Your cell phone will wake you up, tell you where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
When you get there.
I don't want anybody hurting my Energizer bunny, that's all.
That's right, exactly.
Oh, the bunny's gone. The bunny was the first. Don't you remember the original test on this stuff when they put the bunny in the bag?
Oh, yeah.
They put a bunny in a paper bag and croaked him.
Wow.
He was bleeding from every orifice on his body.
Jeez.
So, yeah, it's...
so now you're saying 5G is worse than Ebola?
Well, it'll kill you. I don't know if it's worse.
Oh, there you are.
But it's pretty bad. Like I said, you got your body is those three systems, and if you don't think that, that's going to interrupt those systems, I think we better take a closer look at it.
There you go. Got to go, Pete.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks for the call. All right, appreciate it. All right, well, we got a couple deaths today. Doris Day at 97, and Peggy Lipton from the Mod Squad at 72. And from our text line, 478-8298, tariffs/taxes have historically always worked well. Give the stable economic genius businessman who has never failed all your trust. He's a Republican. All right. We'll be right back with more right after the news, Fox News, and other stuff. So stay tuned. A lot more of the Morning Soapbox to come. I almost said open for business. Jeez.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, we'll be back. Hang in there. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Shane Tallman, half man, half amazing, on the phone with me. And we've got a caller waiting. Shane, you've been talking to. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on? Hello?
Oh, my goodness.
Hello?
I guess he's left. Wow, that was amazing.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Did he have anything to say that?
He was just responding to Pete's comments about 5G and the dangers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Concerns people should have.
From our text line, 478-8298, 5G, the first fairly substantial deployments were in April of 2019 in South Korea. SK Telecom claimed 38,000 base stations. So, yeah, it's a Samsung and all those of South Korea are hard at work on it. Let's see.
And just to mention, that's why Trump locked them up with that new trade agreement.
Yeah.
Their knowledge and access of 5G. And that, that hasn't come out with yet, because that deal and the new NAFTA deal haven't been approved by the Senate yet. But once they're approved, people learn about all these things.
Yeah. Dow is down 460 points. 401 is tanking. Thanks, Donald Trump. I trust him. He's so smart. Well, look at 25,470. You compare it with Election Day when Trump took office, and see where your 401k is.
That's right. And it's a marginal. It's like less than 2% we're talking about here. So this is just a marginal swing, and keep in mind what time of year this is.
Yep.
Okay. This is where all these
sell in May, go away.
That's right. This is where all the managers have settled out last year's fees, and now they've got to generate the downturn in the market to create the upturn in the market. And, there's a bigger play here, folks, than just the news that they're playing too.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take another phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you on the air? What's going on?
Yo, I got disconnected. This is Vinny.
Oh, okay.
Anybody that ever saw the movie Bird Box can draw the analogy between 5G and those gin that the people were seeing that was making the population kill themselves.
Yes.
And anyone that got in the bird box was outside the realm. They couldn't see. They were blind. They couldn't see these gin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like 5G. 5G is a weaponized technology for crowd dispersal. It drives you crazy, and you go running from it when you're subjected to a 5G broadcaster, which is what they bring in for riots now. They bring in a 5G weaponized frequency projector, and they zap you, and then the riots go away. It works every time. It's 100% successful.
There you go.
Okay.
So the bird box is 5G. So.
All right. Hey, thanks for the info. Got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 57 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. We've got a caller on the line, and, we're talking about GM and the unions and holding your ground. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, a good friend of mine in 1981 was COO of General Motors, and I've had the privilege and the pleasure of sitting and talking to him about many things. But one of them was the first time that the auto workers went on strike at General Motors, which I don't know if you remember that, but I kind of remember that. And what happened was they wanted higher pay, and so they went on strike, and management, said, no way, we can't do it. We're not going to do it. But what happened was the stockholders started getting antsy. They want their money. That's how they make their money. That the company sells cars and the stockholders get rich. And management answers to the stockholders. So basically, the management had to cave. So another year and a half or so or whatever went by, and they go on strike again. They want full health care, which, as you know, was very expensive then as it is now. Management said, no, we can't do it. We're going to drive the cost of our cars up. We won't be competitive. And lo and behold, stockholders started squeaking again. They want their money. We want our money. And so management had to cave. And the moral of the story is, if they would have held their ground, GM wouldn't have gone bankrupt, when they did go bankrupt, because that's what bankrupted General Motors was the auto workers, they get paid too much money at the time. But that I'm relating this to the tariff. I mean, if we need to hold our ground and get this thing to balance out again, and so that it's fair all the way around. And yeah, it might hurt for a little while, I guess, although most of the Chinese products that I see, I don't buy anyways. They're not, the quality's pretty bad. So anyways, that's the thing. I think, and then these people that call up and say that, thanks Donald Trump, my 401k is down from, a whole bunch to not quite as much. I just don't get it.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, the whole world revolves around money, and money makes these things happen. And I've never put a whole lot of faith in giving presidents credit for up market, down market, unemployment, full employment, whatever. I think business reacts to conditions that are beneficial to them.
That's right.
And that's what happens. And when business is good, then hiring is done and people go to work and all that is, we're all happy. But when you're always talking about money is chicken, it goes where
That's right.
it goes
safest place, baby.
It goes to the safest place. And, in some cases, if we've got upheavals or things going on around the world that aren't positive, then, they're going to run to an investment that's safe, whether it be gold or bonds or whatever.
For the last 9 years, you and I have talked about the fact, you've been basically a war economy for 17 years, since 2002. But Americans have never heard. They've never felt it.
Yeah.
Because, it's driven the economy. It's not like World War II where people were having to do victory gardens or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, they were doing without coffee. They were doing without sugar. Yeah. They were doing without nylons, rubber, cars. Yeah. Everybody was out collecting scrap metal,
That's right.
So
this is one of those turn of events that for the greater good, talking 50 years from now in the next generation, you got to hold the line. And a rise in products that you don't really need. Yeah. I don't see as a big issue for the American public. I think they're smarter than that.
Sure. No, I think they'll put off. They'll put off what they want. Obviously they got to pull up to the gas pump and pump gas no matter what the price is.
But that's down because you're now the largest oil producer and gas producer in the world. But it's the big ticket items like a washer and dryer you have to be concerned about.
Yeah, if
it breaks down, you got to fix it or replace it.
Yeah. Yeah, you may think about it, or you may use the laundromat for a while or something, but those are the things that we go through. But I think what we've seen for the last 40 years, Shane, of presidents and Congress and everybody else backing down on anything that hurts the voter. And Trump is holding his ground, and he says, "No, I'm not doing it. You're going to be hurt, yes, but in the long run, we're going to be better off. Let's hope."
Well, and I think that's why Trump's got to be careful about Schumer supporting him with China. Well, I think Schumer is trying to cover his bet. Whether this doesn't work out or whatever the economy of the market goes, then he can come back and go, "Well, you're being incapable, and we need to negotiate with China, but you can't do it. We can do a better job negotiating with them." Yeah. That's what I see that as a ploy, where the Democrats will try and grab that. But, if the Chinese think they're going to delay this till the election, big mistake.
Yeah. Well, they've got a long haul there, and they're in trouble anyway.
Exactly.
This is gonna hurt. Plus, Trump is being more receptive to other trade markets that aren't holding us up. So that hurts China even more. If we can fulfill voids in those markets that China was filling before, then you got something.
Look what's happening in the Euro right now. The European communities are having elections, for all the people that are elected. And for the listeners' sake, it's totally separate than country elections. This is for the entire EU and representatives being elected in each country to the EU Congress. And, it's looking right. It's looking like, there may be a big swing in the EU Parliament that goes right. Yeah. And, that'll be nothing but help for Trump. So there we go. We'll see how politics play a role in all this on both sides of the world.
Oh, they do. No question. All right, we got to take another quick break. No moxatril or no whatever's in whatever that stuff is, and whatever else. But we nevertheless have some great folks that keep us on the air. So pay attention. We'll be right back.
Especially locally.
4 minutes for the top of the hour, and we've got a caller patiently waiting on the phone, talking with Shane Taubman, my co-host, Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tom, Shane.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was talking to Tom earlier. I was kind of concerned about what Pete was saying about the 5G, because I have a 20-year-old track phone pay-as-you-go, and I'm not a tech guy at all, but the first thing that came to my mind was the whales and the dolphins over the last few decades watching up on shore, and I didn't really know what this 5G was, but the way he was describing it was maybe some underwater testing was going on, and sure enough, it has an effect on mammals like whales and dolphins. And I thought, well, were they canaries in the coal mine and we're next? Yeah. I was curious about that, so that's why I wanted to call in.
I've often worried about washing up on shore.
Right. We might wash up on shore, exactly. There's so much we don't know or we're not told. So,
Yeah.
I'm too skinny and old. I'd just be fish bait.
Yeah, there you are.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Yeah, appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's not an unearned concern because the thing about 5G, it's a different frequency. It's higher.
Yeah.
And the military, there's a lot of talk on the internet about the military, particularly the Navy, and its need for this because it may give them access to their subfleet. That they don't necessarily have now, where they don't have to surface to get a
get a radio signal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, any of these new innovations, and we were told, when were we told that talk on your cell phone was going to cause brain cancer and
82, baby.
All of that stuff. Anytime technology. And we start talking about electronic waves. We all go a little, you got chemtrails, you got electronic waves on your phone, you got stuff in your water, come on.
Yeah, the internet.
Yeah. I was going to say, are we just, we're going to be walking around as mindless drones here in another probably 10 years. We're getting off the air just in time, probably, Shane, with time we retire.
I think people should have a concern that their brain might, instead of increase from 10% to less than 10% usage.
Yeah. So, well, we use our brain quite a bit during these 3 hours, but other than that, we just sit around and look at our phone. So what can I tell you? Well, we got to duck out here, pay some bills. Hey, it's the top of the hour. No guests today, so open lines. Anything you guys want to talk about, if you want to keep 5G going, hey, more power to you. If there's anything else going on in your life you want to talk about, we're happy to entertain that. Last Friday, we talked a lot about mountain lions and wolves. So, man, that's always a topic that's fun to talk about. And let's see.
We got to talk about Uber, too.
Yeah. All right, there you go. So we'll be back right after the news at the top of the hour and some other stuff. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. It is 6 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m. on Monday, May 13th, 2019. 59 degrees outside. Looks a little cloudy out there. No real sunshine poking through Michelle Wolf's studio over there yet, but the moose is going strong. They got a nice view over there, and of course I've got a view of them, but and that's the only window we have in here. Well, I can see people wandering back and forth through the hallway, but other than that. Well, let's talk about these markets, Shane, because they are going nuts here. The Dow's down 585, 89, 90. It fluctuates as I look. And 2.26%. We're still up for the year, 2% up for the year on the Dow, up 3% on the S&P, up 6% on the NASDAQ. And so I wouldn't say we're too bad, but red all across the area, pretty much across the world. In fact. There's not many bright spaces that I'm seeing anywhere here.
Asia was in a major downturn overnight. From the Nike, the Shanghai, the even South Korea at the Kospi, so, but, these are fluctuations, you have to expect. And as you say, sell in May,
sell in May and go away.
So it's just it's a cyclical process as much as anything else. And it's down 2%, as you said. And I don't think it's a major problem, but, we talked about this and over 3 months ago, you and I both said that once Trump pulls this trigger on this trade deal with China, there's a good chance you could see 30,000 on the Dow by the end of the year. But we'll see where it takes us, and how long the Chinese want to put this off. But I don't think they have time, Tom. I agree with you.
Well, I don't think they do either. Their currency's in trouble. Their elderly population is causing a drain on them. They've got all these cities that are empty with nobody in them, and trying to stay afloat without us is going to be pretty tough.
Huge, and they have a middle class now, 400 million people that are all employed by these companies, and like we've said the last number of years, the worst thing the fascist Chinese government wants to see is 400 angry middle-class people demonstrating in the street.
Well, that's true. Well, the other thing is, too, to pay these tariffs, they're going to have to lower their the value of their currency to pay the tariffs. And that's not going to help them any, depending on what the International Monetary Fund will let them do.
Well, yeah, it's the yuan is at 6.91 the U.S. dollar. It's up 9%.
Yeah.
So again, like you say, Trump gets this. He understands the value of the currency and the way it trades in the world and the value that it has on tariffs. And he's got them in a big box that's where you want them when you're negotiating, in a box.
Well, I think so. I mean, we hold the cards. They need us much more than we need them. In the long run. I mean, well, the good news is that when we buy something over there, we pay for it in dollars, and they can't spend dollars over there, so they take it down to the central bank and they come back over to us and buy bonds. So
which is a huge thing, because the 10-year bond is 2.43, so the interest charges for the U.S. government is dropping. 30 years, they're not making as much. 2.86. So, not only are people buying your debt, but the interest on it's dropping because they're buying it. So prices of debt go up and the interest rate goes down. Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And the other thing is that I don't see a whole lot of people running over to gold. No, again, it's $12.94. It's up $10 today, but
but it's been 12 for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. And this talk about soybeans, which are down today, $16.50 at $7.81. But the soybeans are at the highest price in history right now, and so it's not like the prices of these commodities have trailed off too much. Now, granted, you do worry about trade and people purchasing it, but the cover for this is the U.S. buying it, putting it in storage. You've got generally a 90-day. The U.S. government holds a 90-day reserve of these major, vegetables and fruits and everything. Yeah. Not only would they buy it for that purpose, but also to provide food for the world that can't afford to buy it anywhere else. So I mean, there's cover here for the administration and all these things that we talk about, but they're important markers because they make a determination of where we're at. And the interesting thing is the commodity market is still on its back. It hasn't shifted.
Yeah. From our text line, let's see. Pete doesn't know what 5G is. Don't believe what you hear from callers. Google is your friend. Well, I'm not sure Google's that much of a friend. Also, stock market goes down. Time to buy. Everything goes on sale, Shane, as we've pointed out so many times. Bitcoin is 7,000, up from 3,500 2 months ago. So, people may be flocking to Bitcoin rather than gold.
Right, and we should just talk briefly about Uber. It came out on Friday, as you know, at $42. It went to a high of 45 and then closed at 41.57. Now, the interesting thing about this is the volume on Friday was 186 million shares. Why is that important? Because there's 294 million fully diluted shares issued. They're authorized to issue 753 million shares. And so that means they had 460 million, and they issued 180 million on Friday. Now, the variance on the market with the stock price, we made a good call because we said, watch it, it'll probably trade down. But the reason is that, when they're filing to do this underwriting, their net income revenue for 2018, although 11.2 billion, they lost 1.8 billion dollars last year. Yeah. So I mean, this is one of these. Yes, it's an interesting business model. Yes, it has potential in the future with AI. But let's watch it because I think it's going to be another lift stock, which is down 50% from its offering. So they have some advantages that they're a worldwide market where Lyft is just North America, I believe. That's right. And that's correct. And they've gone into Lyft Eats and Uber Eats, and they're delivering food and all kinds of other stuff. They got Uber delivery and whatever. So. There may be some growth potential there, particularly in the European markets. Well, and the downside of this, folks, is that Uber drivers are independent contractors, so they make what they do earn based on what the riders and stuff. But the important thing here is because they're independent contractors, Uber doesn't collect any money for Social Security.
Right. Yeah. They're not. They're not paying FICA taxes or any of the other things that are going on. I mean, these guys are on their own to pay their own taxes. So
if they want to, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, that's a big problem.
Yeah. All right, let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
This is the old guy.
Hey,
Clint.
How are you, Shane?
Always good, sir, especially when you call in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Pete is my friend, and he knows what 5Gs is. Don't think for a minute he don't.
Okay.
And the next thing I wanted to say is this here. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I want somebody to tell me, or to go outside and spend the day out there and watch the sky. And then watch the jets go over, and you'll see one that is a vapor trail, and then you will see some that's called a contrail. And I've taken pictures of it, and sometimes they do it in a checkerboard pattern, but eventually, before the day is over, those contrails, they call them, has clouded the whole damn sky. And I'm saying to myself, now what in the hell are they doing up there? And I'm not a conspirator guy at all, but I'm wondering what in the hell's going on. So I've said this before. One day I was over there at the mine, and I got a big bench out there in front with a cushion on it, and I got a pillow inside in the lab. And I just spent the damn day out there looking at the sky, watching them do this crap, see? And I'm a pilot. And I'm saying to myself, what is it? Weather warfare? So then I went back and I looked in my diggings, my volumes and volumes of the paperwork I got here, and I got to digging into this HARP program that's up in Alaska. And so I went to the Library of Congress and I got the actual facts about it. And it found out that it was built by a big corporation here in the United States, the HARP program was, in 1957. I got the actual documents about it. And it is for, guess what? Weather warfare. It was designed for weather warfare. And I couldn't believe it. But then if you guys remember, in World War II, Eisenhower and all the generals was wondering and wishing they could have some way to control the weather. Am I right or wrong?
Well, they were. In fact, they almost put off June 6th because of weather.
And
they had no control over.
Yeah.
And right here in Montana, I've said this before too, we had a lawsuit with the Dakotas because we were ionizing the clouds to make it rain here. And we had a lawsuit and we lost. State of Montana did. But anyway, and so I'm thinking about all of this here, and then I'm thinking about all these cell towers that's going up all over. Now, them 5G, them cell towers are supposed to put out this 5Gs. Is it gigabytes? Shane, you're a smart guy. What do you call it?
No, it's a frequency.
Yeah, is it gigabytes, right?
Yeah, it's a frequency based on gigabytes.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, any radiation that goes through the human body is not good. We have enough of it from the sun alone, which is vitamin D. But the radiation part of it, in these cell towers, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I'm talking on a phone now that's one of these you can walk around. And so I don't know if it's a good thing that I talk on this or any other kind of phone. What do you guys know about this?
Well, let me give you an abstract, okay?
Okay.
70 years you've been transferring, for your grid, your electrical grid, power on power lines.
Yep.
And,
that ain't good. I know that.
That's right. It also gives off a frequency, and it loses 50% of the power that it transfers because it's direct current. So, I mean, there are all kinds of studies on all these things you can read about, and it's important to read about and generate some knowledge about it. But, it's like we talked about in 82, they talked about the radiation on phones destroying your brain. So,
Yep.
Yeah, what can I tell you, buddy?
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's bothered me is what in the hell are they doing up there in the clouds? What's going on up there?
They're moving people around, buddy. 10,000 flights a day.
Yeah.
Well, it's now.
It's a bus system.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you.
It's no different than going out and watching buses driving by and punching out, CO2. Come on, you know what's going on.
Well, I'm talking to two smart guys, and I think I'm about half intelligent myself.
Of course you are.
Well, and I'm looking up there, and I used to like to look at the skies in the morning, when it's real sunny, like yesterday. God, it was beautiful,
Yeah.
And yesterday was so beautiful for the mothers of this valley. Anyway, I'm saying to myself, what in the hell? What are they doing?
Yeah, but Clint, look, for the last 20 years, you've heard about global warming. And now we're being told in 12 years we're all going to die.
Yeah.
They have to change the entire economy, shut it all down, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So if there was some kind of terrible thing happening in the atmosphere with 10,000 flights a day, you don't think the Democrats and the scientists out there would want to be talking about it and saying, oh, this is terrible. They're going to kill us all.
Judy got on the Internet, and then she got on these chemtrails. I don't mess with that Internet. Anyway, the stuff that was on there is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. No, there is. Well, it's a fun thing to talk about. You know?
I guess it is. But Tom, I know what a jet trail is. Yeah. I know what that is.
I know.
Okay, and so do you, and so do you, Shane. But you can't tell me that those are jet trails that clouds the whole damn sky. Now, there's something wrong up there.
Okay.
They're doing something wrong. I'm plumb crazy.
Well, let me tell you one thing, and then I got to go, Clint, because what I would tell you, if this was happening over California, you got my vote.
Well, it does. It does.
Well,
hey, we got people down there. It says it's doing the same damn thing. It's doing it in Texas. It's doing it all over.
Well, they're obviously nuts, and we're not. So whatever they're testing up here isn't potent enough to affect us, I guess.
Well, I guess I'm nuts too.
Hey, listen, as a Canadian, I'm just glad there's not that many overflights here.
There you go. I got to go, guys. Hey, thanks for the call.
We're all nuts.
There you go. Thanks for the call. All right, we'll be right back with more right after this. 24 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m., it is Monday, May 13th, 2019, 59 degrees outside. Shane and Tobin on the line with me, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia. And Clint called off the air, wanted us to know that Atlantic Richfield started that program back in 1957, signed by the president and everything. So we have all of that going on. From our text line, 478-8298, Trump's advisors are wrong about tariffs. Trump is an economic genius, knows more than those experts. This time, tariffs will work. Also from our text line, 1 in 7 humans on this planet is a pissed-off Chinese farmer. Don't worry about your 401k. Trump knows what he's doing. Believe in him. Pete is confusing 5G with O3B. 5G is not satellite-based communication. Sorry. Geoengineering. Shane, please explain how the trails turn off and on.
Yeah, right.
It's like a crop duster, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, seed the clouds out there, and that's how it all works. Oh, sounds good to me. Well, there's been all these theories of the government doing all kinds of things to us with what they just said the other day. What NASA's going to stop listening in on our phone calls. There goes half our listenership, Shane.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
if the NSA is not gonna listen in on us, what good are we?
Yeah. How do we go? How do we get hot wired? To the internet? Right.
I know. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to call those guys and say, hey, come on.
Come on, Mayor, go straighten them out. Get them right.
We're trying to do a show here. We need listeners. Get on it.
So I just want to go to this topic on 5 things to know today about Venezuela.
Okay.
I brought this up before about Guaido being an avowed socialist.
Right.
So I don't see the Americans putting military down there. They'd be foolish to do so. But there's one word that's important: Cuba. So the Castro regime today, this weekend, and this important news for Trump in the coming election, the Castro regime has now put food restrictions on the entire population of Cuba because, Venezuela's propped up Cuba for the last 30 years after Russia fell.
Yeah.
And not only with oil, but food. So, this is, this isn't about Venezuela as much as it probably is about Cuba to Trump.
Right. So, all right, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I'll make it quick, Tom, because I know you got a break coming up.
We do, yeah.
Regarding these contrails.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any concern. Nobody needs to worry about these toxic chemicals and other substances contained in these contrails because, I've been breathing that atmosphere for years now. It's never affected me at all.
And you've been breathing it freely, haven't you?
I hear him.
Exactly.
Hasn't affected us either. All right. Oh gosh. Well, that's pretty good to come right out our break time here. But let's see. People who believe in chemtrails vote. Scary. They also believe if it's on the internet, it must be true. Also scary. So there you are.
Well, it's just one of these things that, you have to follow and, just read about. There's so much access to knowledge now that, you go read about it and there's all kinds of papers that have been released. But as I say, if it was such a real science, why aren't the Democrats grabbing this as an issue? Like, you'd think they would, right?
Are the American people being brain-fed seeds from the sky?
Yeah, the military-industrial complex figured out how to control, the weather. Well, if they have, the Midwest of your country's in trouble because now 50 days underwater.
I know, yeah. I was going to say, if they made it rain in the Midwest, they overdid it. All right, we'll be right back. We've got a half hour yet to go on the Morning Soapbox, so stay tuned for that. We got the Rush update coming up and a bunch of other things, so stay tuned. And don't forget our app, our AM 1450 KMMS phone app. You can listen to us, you can text us, you can message us. You can do all things. You can put alerts on the phone. We'll alert you to any traffic issues or any dangers out there or whatever's going on. So get over to Google Play or the Apple Store and get AM 1450 KMMS. Just do a search for AM 1450 KMMS and get that on your phone, and you'll never be without us. We'll be right back. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Monday, May 13th, 2019, 61 degrees outside. Looking pretty good out there. A little sun trying to break through, Shane, I think, but don't know yet.
All right. Well, blue skies and sunny weather is on your way because that's what we have here right now. But next week it gets pretty ugly, so you should expect in another 10 days a lot of rain again.
Yeah, we're looking for rain and everything, so... from our text line, 478-8298, it is 5G stands for fifth generation Wi-Fi.
Basically.
Yeah. And also from our text line, people who believe in chemtrails vote. Scary. I think I already read that one. Yeah, they also believe it's on the internet. It must be true. Okay. Let's see. The left are the globalist is why they don't raise a stink. There you are. As a farmer, I'm affected by Trump's stupid trade war. He is the biggest buffoon to ever hold office. And I'm supposed to use my Jeff Foxworthy voice. If you think China is worried about its citizens paying more for American products, you might be a Trump supporter. So there you are. Well, actually, I think the Chinese, I think we pretty well demonstrated that. The Chinese like our stuff a hell of a lot better than they like their own.
That's right.
So they do buy more of our stuff than they buy of their own stuff. So, they like jeans, they like CDs, they like all the stuff we have, they don't. So
And remember that China's got this huge problem. They have this 400 million middle-class population, and they thought that they could turn them into consumers of Chinese products, and the problem is they're not.
Yeah, They look at their stuff, they look at our stuff, and they say, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hey, guys, it's Mayor.
Hey, Mayor.
Hey, what I'm finding interesting is all the Trump bashers never call in for a conversation. They hide behind the text of, well, Trump's an idiot and Trump's a liar and Trump's this and Trump's that, but they never call in with any data to back those claims up. So I would get rid of the text line personally, and let's have a real conversation. And if somebody has a beef against Trump, they have to let's back up your beef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where's the beef? Where's the beef?
Or, as you say in Montana, belly up to the bar, boys.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I was listening to that Second Amendment show last night, and the guys were talking about how they go into a restaurant or at the airport, and people don't talk to each other anymore. Everybody's on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a table of 4 or 6 people, and not one person says a word to anybody. They're all on their phone.
Oh,
so we have no conversation anymore.
Yeah, go in a doctor's office. sit in a waiting room at the hospital.
I know, and so it's like, you know, I think we should be forced to let's back up our claims. You know what I mean?
There you go. Hey, I like it.
So,
yeah.
All right. That's my opinion.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Happy Mother's Day.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, it is 15 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, May 13th, 2019, 61 degrees outside. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, on the air with me in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. And, well, we've been all over the place today. Everything from the stock market crash to, well, it's not a crash, but the market is down. It's down quite a ways. 400 plus points or 500. Let's see. Let me pull up what it is currently. Yeah, we're down 515 points on the Dow, 219 on the NASDAQ, and 183 on the New York Stock Exchange. So pretty much right across the board.
Yeah, but just to make a comment, last Friday, you know, it was down like this on Friday. Then it was up 300 points, and then it settled up just moderately up. So, I mean, it swung 1,000 points on last Friday. So
yes, it did. Yeah.
It's just a normal thing. This is, don't get your panties in a squeeze or get your in a panty, whatever.
Yeah. Don't get your panties in a bind.
Thanks.
Okay.
You're my man. You got my back, Mayor.
I'm here to help, Shane. I'm here to help.
Yeah, you're the man.
Well, some other things on the 5 things that we need to know if they'll pull up. I may have lost my internet here. Don't tell me that.
Well, the next one is about the NRA and you know, the lavish lifestyle, supposedly, with documents released. And they're paying $100,000 a day legal fees, $3 million a month, you know, $40 million a year. Wow, big deal. They got 5 million members and they take in $450 million a year. I don't think that's a big problem for them.
Yeah.
But I you know, it is disconcerting when, you know, the guy running it, you know, Wayne LaPierre, spending $39,000 on a one-day trip shopping in Beverly Hills. You know, these kind of things don't work well with people. They look at it and go, not cool. Not cool
at all, yeah.
And Ronnie comes out in Iran, and you need to know this, that Iran is facing unprecedented pressure from sanctions. No kidding. Iranians are in the street now saying death to the mullahs and the ayatollahs. How amazing is that?
Yeah, well, they're ready to go. You know, I mean, they're tired of all this stuff. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, Tom. I enjoy mental gymnastics as much as the next man. But all of these discussions, do you realize they all revolve around one thing?
What's that?
And that is money.
Yes.
And the money in America is controlled by the legislature, whether it be the House or the Senate or the president or the bureaucrats. So if we're going to discuss all these things, why don't we get to the most basic question that there is? How do people have the right to vote? If you don't control who's electing these people, and I noticed Daines, who goes on, makes a big, I want to have the question of illegal citizenship on the questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never change your voting statutes, and they even have people talking about this redistricting that's coming up, if you do not define who is allowed to vote and control the voting and restrict it to only the citizens legally in this country and do that, all the money is going to be gone, and we're just going to keep going 21 trillion now. We'll be 25 by probably 2020, and we'll just keep going because people who are not citizens are voting themselves money from the coffers.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. I can't disagree.
Because, I mean, you look at the contrails, you look at all these G5 and everything, if the government doesn't pay for it, and I'm talking through tax credits and everything else, it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
And who gives those? Oh, the politicians.
Yep.
So Americans, and if I may for a moment, address only Montanans.
Yep.
About 4 years ago, they tried to put an initial ballot on the election to require citizenship for all programs funded by state funds.
Yeah.
Well, all the Mexican, however you want to designate their groups,
sure,
went and filed suit, and the Supreme Court ruled it illegal. The Montana Supreme Court ruled that it was not a definable term the way they phrased it.
Yeah.
Montanans better learn the phrase for foreign, domestic born, and living in America in violation of law. It's a whole mouthful, but then the courts can't refuse to take it and talk to it.
There you go. Hey, thanks for the call.
I thank you guys.
Appreciate
By the way, I am enjoying it. It's just it dawned on me, all of this is a lot of, if I were in a worse mood and you were discussing things that I enjoyed listening to, I just call it mental masturbation.
Well, there you go. that's why we take phone calls. All right, take care.
Bye.
All right. We got to take a quick break here. Rush update, and we'll be right back. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. Shaman Taubman on the line with me. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house, and did our phone caller go away, Shane? Caller, you on the air? What's going on?
Hi, this is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Chemtrails are real.
Okay.
I didn't know about them for years. I heard first about them on Mark Allen's program, and I started watching. And they show up on biofeedback. Some people are very sensitive to them, and that was on Gesundheit. Started watching them after I heard about them, and I see them when I'm garage sailing on Saturday mornings. They fly in tic-tac-toe patterns.
Yeah, I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
I watched a normal jet trail one day coming out of a jet, and then he must have flipped on something because it went really wide, and that part started to spread. The other part didn't.
Okay. Well,
one day when I was garage sailing, there was a perfectly blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. And within 2 hours, they had put a heavy coating right over Bozeman. It was just thick.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's something that you don't, if you're not paying attention, you may not notice. But when you're watching, you can really see it. And I remember one time when Mark was on, that there was a guy from over at, I think it was Wilsall, that said he had watched them turn them on. He could see them from over there, and they'd turn them on over here.
Yeah.
So I don't know I don't know if it's weather control or what they're doing to us, but there's.
Well, I feel pretty normal for the past 25 years I've lived here, so I don't know.
Yeah, and Clint called in that one time and stuff, and he had like black spots.
Oh yeah.
On his house.
Yeah.
And his patio and stuff. Maybe came down with raindrops.
Yeah, could be.
Taking it out of the air.
Yeah.
So it is real.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Well, let's see. We got about 30 seconds here or so, I think, before the music comes up. So, Shane, say goodbye.
Bye, Mayor. Thank you for all the phone calls, everyone. Appreciate you listening. Always happy to hear from you and talk to you tomorrow morning, Mayor. Be
all right.
Be safe.
We'll be here 6 a.m. Let's see. We can, let's see. Maybe we could get one quick phone call in. Caller, be real quick, about 60 seconds.
Yeah, this chemtrail business is a bunch of new age horse crap. The government's doing something to us. I saw a jet go over. It must have been at 40,000 feet just yesterday. All clear sky, one chemtrail. That's caused by the function of the temperature, the altitude, and the fuel. You know, that's not something like secret government program. These people that believe in that George Norrie and all his idiocy, and little gray people and chemtrails and time travel. I mean, these people need to have their heads examined.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right, we got to go, and that's it for us today. We'll see everybody bright and early at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Be happy, be safe.